No problem at all, he said. I'm Ryan, and this is my daughter, Emma. She's been hoping to meet someone her age tonight. We don't get to fancy places like this often, and she was a little nervous about being the only child here. Victoria noticed Ryan's clothes, while clean, were slightly worn. The watch on his wrist was simple, far from the luxury timepieces most men here probably wore. His hands were calloused, hinting at manual labor. There had been no embarrassment in his voice when he said they rarely came out to places like this, just honest simplicity. I'm Victoria, she said, extending her hand. And this is Lily. We're actually waiting for someone, so I should get back to our table. But it's nice to meet you. The pleasure's mine, Ryan said, shaking her hand firmly but kindly. Lily, it was very nice meeting you. Maybe you and Emma can wave at each other from your tables. Lily's face lit up at the suggestion and she reluctantly followed Victoria back to their seats. Once seated, she immediately began chatting. Mommy, Emma is 6 like me. She likes the same books I do, and her daddy is a construction worker who builds houses. They're here for a special celebration because Emma got all A's on her report card, and that's wonderful. Honey, Victoria said, only half listening as she checked her watch. Robert Harrison was now 15 minutes late. Remember, we're here for a work meeting, so we need to focus. Will your meeting person be nice like Emma's daddy? Lily asked. Victoria hesitated. I don't know, sweetheart. We're meeting to talk about business, not to make friends. That sounds sad, Lily said. Emma's daddy says the best business is when you make friends too. Victoria felt a pang of something, guilt, perhaps, or regret. She had built her company on sharp strategies and tough negotiations, not on friendship. Maybe that was why she was here, alone, except for her 6-year-old daughter. Maybe that was why her marriage had ended. Victoria constantly balancing the demands of running a successful company with being a present mother, and Lily carrying the quiet weight of growing up in the spotlight. You could never embarrass me, Victoria said firmly. You're the most important part of my life. And if this Mr. Harrison can't understand that sometimes a mother needs to bring her daughter to dinner, then he isn't someone we need to work with. The truth was, Victoria was anxious about the evening ahead. Robert Harrison was a potential investor whose support could elevate Ashford Technologies to new heights. Yet he had expressed a preference for casual settings for business talks, and tonight was the only evening he had free in the coming 2 months. When Victoria's regular babysitter cancelled at the last minute, she had no choice but to bring Lily along. The hostess guided them to their reserved table, and Victoria noticed the discreet glances from other diners. She was accustomed to recognition, to the murmurs, "That's Victoria Ashford, the tech CEO." She knew what they whispered about her, ruthless, ambitious, cold. The divorce from Lily's father had been a public spectacle, filled with mutual accusations reported in business publications and gossip columns. Critics said she prioritized her career over her marriage, that she was difficult to live with, that success had changed her. Some of it was true, some of it wasn't. But Victoria had learned to let it roll off her back. She had a daughter to raise and a company to manage. Other people's opinions held no power over her decisions. Seated at the table, Victoria ordered sparkling water for herself and lemonade for Lily. As they waited, she pulled out her tablet to review her presentation notes one final time, though her focus kept drifting to Lily, who was staring intently across the room. "What are you looking at, sweetheart?" Victoria asked, following her daughter's gaze. The restaurant was the kind of place where reservations had to be booked months ahead, where chandeliers cast a warm golden glow across polished marble floors, and where the soft hum of conversation was occasionally broken by the delicate clink of crystal glasses. It catered to those with wealth who wanted it subtly announced, although the truly affluent often preferred such quiet grandeur. Victoria Ashford stood near the entrance in a champagne-colored silk suit, carefully chosen and likely costing more than most people's monthly earnings. Her platinum blonde hair cascaded in flawless waves past her shoulders. At 38, she was the CEO of Ashford Technologies, a company she had painstakingly built from scratch following her divorce 7 years earlier. There was a presence about her that drew attention, not merely because of her appearance, but because she carried herself with the assured confidence of someone who had fought for everything she owned and succeeded. Next to her, holding her hand tightly in a grip that revealed a hint of nervousness, was her daughter, Lily. The little girl was 6, with light brown hair and wearing a pink dress she had insisted on, despite Victoria's suggestion of something more sophisticated. Lily clutched a small purse in both hands, her blue eyes wide as she took in the refined surroundings with equal parts awe and apprehension. "Mommy, are you sure about this?" Lily whispered, glancing up at her mother with anxious eyes. Victoria knelt, careful not to crease her suit, and held her daughter's hands gently. "Sweetheart, remember what we talked about? Mommy has to meet this man for a business dinner. Since Grandma can't watch you tonight, you get to come with me. It will be an adventure. But what if he doesn't like kids? What if I mess up and embarrass you?" Lily asked softly. Victoria felt a pang of sympathy. Her daughter shouldn't have to worry about such things. Yet this was their reality. At a small corner table, a man sat with a young girl who appeared to be about Lily's age. The man appeared to be in his early 30s, with dark brown hair and a neatly trimmed beard. He wore a plain gray t-shirt and jeans, attire that looked strikingly out of place in such an upscale restaurant. The little girl beside him wore a pink dress similar to Lily's and was chatting animatedly, while the man listened with patient attention. Victoria felt a brief flicker of judgment. Who came to a restaurant like this so casually dressed? But then she noticed the way he looked at his daughter, complete devotion, the intensity of his focus, the way he leaned in to catch every word she said, as if nothing else in the world mattered. Something twisted in her chest. When had anyone ever looked at her like that? When had she last felt like someone's entire world? "That girl's dress is like mine," Lily observed. "Can I go say hi?" Lily asked before Victoria could respond. "We don't just approach strangers," Victoria said gently, but Lily was already slipping out of her chair and walking toward the other table. Victoria watched, mortified, as her daughter confidently introduced herself. The girl in the pink dress immediately brightened, and the two children began chatting like old friends. Victoria stood to intercept her daughter and apologize, but she caught the man's warm voice first. "Well, Emma, looks like you've made a new friend. Isn't that the best part of going out to dinner? Meeting nice people." "Hi," Victoria said, reaching the table. "I'm so sorry. My daughter sometimes forgets about personal boundaries. Lily, come back to our table, please." But the man was smiling, a genuine, welcoming smile, nothing like the polite, distant expressions Victoria usually received from strangers. Maybe that was why, in her penthouse some nights, she lay awake feeling like something vital was missing. Robert Harrison finally arrived 25 minutes late, offering apologies that felt more obligatory than sincere. That he appeared to be in his 50s, dressed in a finely tailored suit and wearing a watch that could easily cost more than a car. When he noticed Lily at the table, his expression flickered briefly with something like irritation before settling back into a mask of professional politeness. "Miss Ashford, my apologies for being late. Traffic was impossible. I see you've brought a guest." "My daughter, Lily," Victoria said. "I hope that's all right. My childcare fell through at the last minute." Robert's smile did not reach his eyes. "Of course, children are delightful," he said, though the tone made it clear he found them anything but delightful. As the dinner progressed, Victoria grew increasingly uncomfortable. Robert spoke at her rather than with her, barely glanced at Lily except with mild annoyance when she asked quiet questions, and his interest in Ashford Technologies felt shallow at best. Halfway through the main course, Lily whispered, "Mommy, I need to use the bathroom." Victoria began to rise, but Robert waved dismissively. "Please don't interrupt our discussion. The child can go on her own, can't she? It's just across the room." Victoria's jaw tightened. "She's 6 years old. I'm not sending her alone in a public restaurant." "You're overprotective, aren't you?" Robert added. That's the problem with working mothers. They either neglect their children or smother them. No middle ground. Victoria felt her temper flare, but she kept her voice steady. Excuse me for just a moment. She took Lily's hand and led her toward the restrooms, already composing a polite but firm email in her mind declining Robert's investment. She didn't need his money enough to endure his condescension. Passing Ryan and Emma's table, Lily tugged at her hand. Mommy, can I say hi to Emma on the way back? Quickly, honey, Victoria said with a smile. While Lily used the restroom, Victoria waited outside, checking her phone. Then she heard a crash from the main dining room, followed by raised voices. Concerned, she hurried back. The scene before her was chaotic. Robert Harrison stood red-faced, shouting at Ryan, who appeared to have spilled something on him, a dark stain spreading across Robert's expensive suit jacket. You absolute idiot. Do you know how much this suit costs? More than you make in a month, I'm sure. How clumsy can you be? I'm so sorry, Ryan said, attempting to help, but Robert waved him away. My daughter reached for something and bumped my arm. It was an accident. I'll pay for the dry cleaning. Robert scoffed. Dry cleaning won't fix this. It's ruined. Do you have any idea who I am? Victoria stepped forward before thinking, determined to intervene. Mr. Harrison, I believe the gentleman has apologized. Accidents happen. Robert turned to her, still flushed with anger. Ms. Ashford, this person has ruined a $5,000 suit jacket. An apology hardly seems sufficient. Something crystallized inside Victoria. She looked at Ryan, standing quietly with dignity despite the public berating. She looked at Emma, quietly upset that her special celebration dinner had been spoiled. She looked at Robert, his expensive suit and inflated sense of self-importance, and made a decision. Mr. Harrison, I believe our business meeting is concluded. I will not be accepting your investment. Robert blinked, caught off guard. What? Because of this? Don't tell me you're going to let some clumsy laborer ruin a lucrative business opportunity. No, Victoria said calmly. I'm ending it because you've shown me who you are. I do not do business with people who treat others with contempt. Accidents happen. Grace and understanding are what separate decent people from those like you. She turned to Ryan. I would like to cover the cost of the damage to Mr. I'll cover the cost of Mr. Harrison's jacket, Victoria said firmly. And I want to apologize on behalf of anyone who believes that wealth gives them the right to treat others poorly. Ryan shook his head. Ma'am, that's very kind, but it's my responsibility. I insist, Victoria replied. She took out her wallet and handed Robert several $100s. This should more than cover the dry cleaning. Our business is concluded. Please do not contact me again. Robert sputtered, but Victoria had already turned away. A feeling she hadn't experienced in years surged through her, righteous anger for someone else. Not for herself, but for injustice. Lily had returned and had witnessed the entire exchange. She immediately went to Emma and took her hand. Don't be sad. Your daddy didn't do anything wrong. That man was just being mean. Victoria looked at Ryan, who was still standing there, appearing a little stunned. I'm sorry you had to deal with that. Are you okay? I'm fine, he said. Thank you for what you did. You didn't have to step in. I wanted to, Victoria said. I should have spoken up the moment he insulted my daughter. I'm just sorry I didn't do it sooner. Ryan gave her a genuine smile, one that reached his eyes and created small crinkles at the corners. You have a very kind daughter. She and Emma seem to have really hit it off. Victoria glanced at the two girls, now sitting together at Ryan's table. Emma was proudly showing Lily the certificate she had earned for her report card. They do, Victoria agreed. And honestly, watching them together has been the best part of my evening. Everything else, she gestured at the luxurious surroundings and the remnants of her interrupted dinner with Robert, feels hollow in comparison. I know exactly what you mean, Ryan said. I work long hours on construction sites to give Emma the life she deserves. But moments like tonight, just sitting with her and listening to her talk about her day, that's when I feel wealthy. Not when I'm earning money, but when I'm truly present with her. Victoria felt a sudden prickling of tears. When was the last time she had been truly present with Lily? Not just physically there while her mind raced through work problems, but really there. Can I ask you something? She said impulsively. Would you and Emma like to join Lily and me for dessert? We have a big table, and it seems a shame for our girls to be separated when they're having such a good time. Ryan looked surprised. Are you sure? We're not really dressed for a place like this. I only managed to get a reservation by calling in a favor from someone I know who works here. This was supposed to be Emma's special night, and I've kind of ruined it. You haven't ruined anything, Victoria said. And who cares about clothes? What matters is the company we keep. So, what do you say? Will you join us? Ryan's smile was warm and genuine. We'd be honored. They moved to Victoria's larger table, and the girls immediately began chatting like old friends. Victoria and Ryan talked, and she realized she was enjoying the conversation more than any business dinner she had attended in years. He spoke about his work in construction, about being a single father since Emma was 2 after his wife passed in a car accident, about taking extra shifts to save for her college fund, and about striving to give her experiences and memories, not just material things. Victoria, in turn, found herself speaking honestly about the pressures of running a company, the loneliness that often accompanied success, and the guilt she sometimes felt for not being able to attend every school event, bedtime story, or moment Lily needed her. But you're here now, Ryan said gently. And Lily adores you. I can see it in the way she looks at you. You're her hero. Even though I work long hours and drag her to business dinners where she has to sit quietly while I talk about things she doesn't fully understand yet, but you're here, and that's what matters. Even though you're human and doing your best, that's all anyone can ask of you. And from where I'm sitting, your best is impressive, Ryan said. Victoria felt a shift in her chest. This man, a construction worker who had just been berated by someone who believed wealth equaled worth, was looking at her with genuine respect, not because of her company or her money, but because he saw her as a person, a mother doing her best. Ryan, can I ask you something else? She said. Of course. Would you and Emma like to come to the park with us tomorrow? Lily has been asking me to take her, but I keep putting it off because of work. I think maybe work can wait for one Saturday afternoon. Ryan's face lit up. We'd love that. Emma has been wanting to go to the park all week. And so Victoria Ashford, Billionaire CEO, found herself spending a Saturday afternoon at a public park with a construction worker and their daughters. They pushed the girls on swings, helped them across the monkey bars, and sat on a bench watching them play. This is nice, Victoria said sincerely. I can't remember the last time I just sat without my phone, without my tablet, without thinking about work. It's good for the soul, Ryan said. Emma keeps me grounded. Reminds me what matters. What do you think matters? Victoria asked, genuinely curious. Ryan paused to think. Love. Connection. Being present. Making memories with people you care about. Those are the things you remember at the end of your life. Not the hours you worked or the money you earned, but the moments you spent with people you love. Tears pricked Victoria's eyes. I've spent 7 years building my company. 7 years proving I could succeed despite my divorce, despite people saying I would fail. And I did succeed. But somewhere along the way, I forgot to build a life. I forgot that success without someone to share it with is empty. It's not too late, Ryan said gently. You're here now. You chose to come to the park instead of the office. You chose to spend time with Lily instead of taking another meeting. That's not nothing. That's everything. Over the following weeks, Victoria and Ryan continued to meet. Park visits became a regular occurrence. They took the girls to museums, the zoo, ice cream shops, and Victoria found herself changing. She started leaving work earlier, stopped checking emails during dinner with Lily, and declined meetings that would have caused her to miss school events. Her executive team noticed. Some worried she was losing her edge, but others, especially the women on her board, told her she seemed happier, more balanced, more like a person rather than a CEO robot. And Ryan became something Victoria hadn't expected, not just a friend, but someone she looked forward to seeing. Someone whose opinion she valued, who made her laugh, think, and feel in ways she hadn't in years. 6 months after that fateful dinner, Ryan asked Victoria if she would like to go to dinner with him. Just the two of them, while Emma and Lily had a sleepover at Victoria's penthouse with a trusted sitter. Like a date? Victoria asked, feeling unexpectedly nervous. Like a date, Ryan confirmed with a smile. They went to a small Italian restaurant, nothing fancy, just good food and good conversation. Over pasta and wine, Victoria found herself sharing things she'd never told anyone, her fears, insecurities, regrets, how her success had cost her almost everything else, and how she had been so focused on proving everyone wrong that she had forgotten to ask herself what she was truly working toward. I spent 7 years being angry, Victoria said.